Back by popular demand, we're going to do another throwback segment here. This is Bill Maher going after Jon Stewart, of all people. Interesting back and forth between two very smart guys, in my opinion. And Maher is angry because Jon Stewart promoted this rally in Washington, which was, I think he called it the Rally to Restore Sanity, which was all about people being more moderate.
But the message of the rally, as I heard it, was that if the media would just stop giving voice to the crazies on both sides, then maybe we could restore sanity. It was all nonpartisan and urged cooperation with the moderates on the other side, forgetting that Obama tried that and found out there are no moderates on the other side. When John announced his rally, he said that the national conversation is dominated by people on the right who believe Obama's a socialist and people on the left who believe 9/11 was an inside job. But I can't name any Democratic leaders who think 9/11 was an inside job. But Republican leaders who think Obama's a socialist? All of them. McCain, Boehner, Cantor, Palin, all of them. It's now official Republican dogma, like tax cuts pay for themselves and gay men just haven't met the right woman. As another example of both sides using overheated rhetoric, John cited the right equating Obama with Hitler and the left calling Bush a war criminal. Except thinking Obama is like Hitler is utterly unfounded, but thinking Bush is a war criminal, that's the opinion of General Anthony Tugaboo, who headed the Army's investigation into Abu Ghraib. Republicans keep staking out a position that is further and further right, and then demand Democrats meet them in the middle, which is now not the middle anymore. That's the reason health care reform is so watered down. It's Bob Dole's old plan from 1994. Same thing with cap and trade. It was the first President Bush's plan to deal with carbon emissions. Now the Republican plan for climate change is to claim it's a hoax. Two opposing sides don't necessarily have two compelling arguments. Martin Luther King spoke on that mall in the Capitol, and he didn't say, remember, folks, those Southern sheriffs with the fire hoses and the German shepherds, they have a point, too. No, he said, I have a dream, they have a nightmare. This isn't Team Edward and Team Jacob. Liberals, like the ones on that field, must stand up and be counted and not pretend that we're as mean or greedy or short-sighted or just plain batshit as they are. And if that's too polarizing for you and you still want to reach across the aisle and hold hands and sing with someone on the right, try church.
So, who's right in this scenario? Jon Stewart, who decided to have a rally for moderation to try to rise above the fray and set up some sort of a dialogue between the left and the right to get shit accomplished, or Bill Maher, who essentially says, fuck that, we've tried that long enough, it doesn't work, let's actually fight. Bill Maher is right, and he's 100% right. And Jon Stewart's a very smart guy, I think everybody knows that, and he's a very funny guy, as is Bill Maher. But the thing that annoyed me about that rally, and it apparently annoyed Maher too, is that comes straight from the know-nothing guide to politics. The idea that, well, the answer is always somewhere in the middle. You know, two sides, you got to weigh both sides and always compromise and always negotiate and always hold hands and then always try to find an amiable solution which makes everybody happy, and then that's the best way to get things done. Except, no, the Democrats do that and they get their eyes spit in. Perfect example, like he said, healthcare reform. The Democrats didn't start by saying, let's do single payer. They started by saying, let's do a public option, which was already the concession, and that should have been the final point, which was the compromise, the public option. But they started with public option, which was the compromise. Then they had to give in to an individual mandate system, which originally came from Richard Nixon, and then Maher rightly points out that later on it was written by the Heritage Foundation, codified by them, supported by Bob Dole and Chuck Grassley and Newt Gingrich. It's a right-wing idea. It mandates people go to the private health insurance companies. It keeps the system in place. It keeps the status quo and the capitalist for-profit insurance companies in place. We gave away too much. How about with the stimulus? Obama from day one with the stimulus package says, I want to do tax cuts. Well, why are you doing that? We know that tax cuts don't work. Look at what happened under George W. Bush. You should have purely argued for stimulus, and then maybe the meeting point is we'll give you 5% tax cuts, but you don't even need to negotiate with them because at the time we had a supermajority and we could have got whatever the fuck we wanted. We should have done a New Deal, never mind a stimulus package. But Maher is 100% right. There's no negotiating with a party that tried to repeal your signature accomplishment 51 times when they knew it would die in the Senate, and then they knew if it got through the Senate, which it wouldn't, you would veto it immediately as the President of the United States. You can't How are you going to negotiate with the party that shut down the government because they couldn't get Obamacare repealed? How are you going to negotiate with them? How are you going to negotiate with the party that literally broke the filibuster record under Obama? How are you going to do that? You can't negotiate with them. They're letting you know I don't give a shit. Even if you propose my policies, I'm going to say I don't like it. For fuck's sake, with comprehensive immigration reform, the Democrats proposed a package that increases border security, puts fucking drones on the border, and cuts the deficit and adds an over 10-year waiting period. And the Republicans said, even though you gave us everything we wanted, I'm not going to make a deal with you because I don't like you. You have cooties and I disagree even when I agree. They've literally argued against their own policies, which they say they favor because Obama's proposed them and the Democrats have proposed them. So if they're going to disagree with you anyway, you might as well try to get the actual progressive ideas and policy positions through. But they don't do that because they're bought by Wall Street also. And, they're not as progressive as we would like them to be. But Maher is 100% right, man. Look, the thing that's the most annoying about the Republicans is actually their best quality, their stubbornness. They'll get what the fuck they want. If they have 51 votes in the Senate, they'll get exactly what they want. Believe you me. How do I know? They did it under George W. Bush. They did it under Bush. Got exactly what they want, and they had a slight majority. So why is it when the Democrats have well over 51, damn near 60, they're not quite there, but close to 60, why can't we get anything done? Because they suck at playing politics. They suck at hammering their ideas home. They suck at appealing to the American people who actually agree with them, the Democrats, on pretty much everything. So Maher is right. The time for patty cakes and holding hands and saying I love you and singing Kumbaya together, that's done, that's gone. Forget that, man. We need actual progressives like FDR who said, oh, really? You're going to disagree with me? That's cute. Watch as I end your career.